What?
You have to guess what I'm thinking.
You're thinking
wait.
about how to open that parp tart. There you
Yeah,
go.
that parp
Parp
tart.
tart.
The old parp tart.
Okay.
Ah!
Who eats Pop Tarts like that? Just destroys the wrapper and then just pulls them both
Eat,
out.
and then holds both at the same time.
Just eats through both of them.
On today's episode, we teach Christian how to eat. Was it s'mores?
We'll just watch him eat a pop tart in silence. Let's do the whole podcast. It's like ASMR of him eating a pop tart.
Yeah, get it up and on that mic.
Get closer to the mic.
ASMR. Oh, I want to shoot you.
We have to,
That doesn't even
we have to
sound good.
charge a lot for this episode.
Does it look like manager shit?
Yeah, they are shit.
Are they open?
You see what I'm doing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're eating a pop tart.
You eat a Pop Tart.
My eyes look shut.
Yeah.
This is the worst podcast ever.
Well, they're not. I'm gonna close my eyes and eat Pop Tart.
Oh, what are you gonna talk about? What
All right, I got kind of a topic, but I don't know. We'll see.
Cool. Let's hit it. Everyday acts. Hit me, bro.
Should we
Top
like?
of the dome.
Should we intro it or something?
That was.
Ba-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. Let's go.
Are you like? On,
Let's
on
go.
tonight? Let's go.
Da-da-da. Let's go.
Let's go.
Today
Nothing
we
wrong
talk
tonight.
about tangy barbecue sauce kit.
What's better, Ray Barbee's barbecue sauce or tangy barbecue sauce from McDonald's?
Wendy's.
Oh,
Is that McDonald's? No, that is McDonald's.
What's the best chicken nuggets you ate?
that you hate? What?
Ate
That's your eight.
No.
What's your? That's your
What is
eight.
it? The best,
best
chicken,
chicken
nuggets.
nuggets.
This is an excellent
I don't
start. I
know.
don't know. Best chicken nuggets, probably some sort of fast food, I guess.
I love chicken nuggets. The spicy nuggets
From
from
where?
Wendy's are where it's at.
Those are
Spicy
good.
nuggets from Wendy's.
Spicy
But
nuggets
they're
is
gonna
where it's at.
they're gonna introduce spicy nuggets in McDonald's soon.
That's probably gonna be
Cool.
trash because McDonald's is a dumpster fire.
I like
Is
Burger
that
King
a
spicy
dog
nuggets.
poop bag?
Yeah, what was that? Brian
Yeah,
just
it was
showing
a
us things.
dog poop bag.
Brian just revealing items.
Yeah, but you haven't had
randomly.
you haven't had a dog from the last time your dog turned into napkins.
Oh yeah,
Napkin back.
it never came back. It never transformed back into a dog.
Yeah,
Never
so you-
found them.
Like your
You
trash,
threw the napkins away.
your trash just started barking one day, and you're like, "What the hell?" You're like, he turned back from the napkins into a dog.
But he was in
they
the
hear
trash.
some barking, some random barkings in the trash.
Barkins.
Blap.
Is that what you call them? Barkins. Where's Barkins?
I thought Barkins was in here.
Is Barkins in the trash? Why'd you throw Barkins away?
Barkins.
All right, tonight's topic.
Oh,
So we talked a little bit about social media before, so
no.
I think it'd be interesting to talk about. So more
Barkins.
recently, there's been like a huge push for everyone. Like, what the fuck is this guy?
He's like on a crack tonight.
Yeah,
Well, I'm just hearing the topic.
you're hearing the topic. You got headphones on, bro.
As opposed to every other night, Tim he's on crack every single night.
Yeah, this guy's on drugs.
Okay, so we talked about social media.
What?
Social
Social
media.
No, what God was saying.
Shanita.
Social media. You ever met her, Social media?
Oh my god.
All right,
What about it?
what were you
I
saying?
feel like we're
Sir?
gonna jump into like a normal topic when we're all joking around here, but we were talking about like social media and stuff, and I think it's just like nowadays there's like a huge push for like entrepreneurship and like everyone starting their own business and like everyone being their own boss and like people use social media as like a big part of that. So we were kind of talking a little bit of like, is social media good or bad? But I feel like it's bad in some senses because the entrepreneurship thing is good, but it's kind of like in a weird bubble because not every single person can just go and be their own boss because that just kind of defeats the purpose of like people working for somebody. So like, I don't know, just that thought like popped in my head like a couple weeks ago when we were talking a little bit about some of the social stuff. But like, if someone starts their own business and then that business grows, they have to hire people, then it just eventually shifts into that same structure where like as those businesses grow, more people are being hired, and then you just end up working for these other companies. So I feel like with social media, it really pushes the idea of like each person building their own little brand and like starting their own little business, but it seems like it's kind of just like a weird like a bubble, like a transition because that can't really happen for every single person. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm trying to like get at?
Yeah, but I don't think every person either wants to do it or has the drive to do it or
True.
has the.
I definitely want to
desire to do it.
get my own business going.
But you know what I mean? Where
Me
it's like social media. I feel like there's all these like mentors and all these things that you see online, like like Gary V's and all these like. I mean, obviously he's like an
Yeah.
actual successful person, but there's like a lot of like self-proclaimed people that
Yeah.
really aren't anybody. But everyone
that's the
pushes to
thing.
like, oh, start your own business, do your own thing, and it's like the more people that do that, like okay, it's good for those people, but then it just kind of shifts into this thing where like if people are successful, then they're just building other businesses that people are then gonna work for. So it's like the whole starting your own business thing is like kind of like one of the biggest scams now because like I said, not everyone wants to do it, but it's kind of like setting people up like
For
for
failure.
yeah, like for
It's
failure,
just
like
that-
chasing these things
Well,
on
they just
social
make it
media.
seem like it's super easy or super attainable when it's like a lot of work. It's not as people can do it, but it's not as easy as they're saying it is. And a lot of these like things you say, like the quick like social media people that aren't really like these no name people that are they trying to promise like quick schemes
easy
or
money.
like fast things that oh do this and this on Amazon and you sell this and you'll be making blah 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 a week and it's like it's not that easy. Like it takes time, it takes effort, it takes a lot of work, and people
Like
don't realize
streamers.
that.
Yeah. Well, we talked a little bit about streamers before. So you have like, look at like the top like 5 people. You have like, Ninja, Shroud, Dr. Disrespect, and like, the guy from A Thousand Thieves or whatever his name is.
Shot.
Nature.
Yeah, Nate Shot. So it's like those are like 1 in a million type scenarios. So it's like because streaming and social media and all these things are so easily accessible, like all these kids see those people and they're like, oh, they're just going hard, like, oh, I'm going at it, I'm doing my thing. But it's like they're almost setting themselves up for failure because because of how popular those other people are, that many more people want to do that. But now the barrier to entry is that much harder. So I don't know, it's
Yeah.
just like social media is bad in that sense because it's so easy to use and so easy to like try to get out there that like everyone's gonna see it as like an easy way to enter.
Brainwashed.
And then you're gonna like spend so much time going after it, and then it's like almost gonna be
Well, then
for
I guess
nothing.
at that point you just got to decide when you can try it. And you never know if you're gonna get it if you don't try it.
Yeah.
But you just got to decide when you got to stop and you're like, all right, this isn't gonna work, or I got to change something, or this isn't for me, or you think like I really have something, I got to keep going and push through it. It's like got to get to that point, I guess, because like you said, as more people do it, as the barrier closes of can only like that platform or whatever they're doing is only gonna have so much people in it before it becomes stale or becomes overran with people.
Yeah, like only
That's just like how YouTube, how that was like the pinnacle of everything. Like how everyone got more into like vlogs, things like that, and like growing big from there. I think it's like more from that kind of. I don't know. It's a good and a bad thing at YouTube.
you like totally lost your thought as you were saying, as you're saying it. No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's like YouTube is obviously like a lot harder now to get into because all the vlogs and all these other things that did really well, millions of people jumped in and tried to do the same thing, and like not every
Very
person
like-
can be successful. Like only some people are going to be that great at it. So it's I don't know. I guess like starting with the question of like the whole is social media good or bad? It's obviously it's good depending on how you use it, but I feel like for like the young crowd nowadays, like with things like TikTok and not TikTok specifically, but like the idea that like, oh, if you garner enough following, like, oh, you're famous, like you're set for life.
Mhm.
Like I feel like it sets
Yeah.
a lot of these kids up like poorly, even though I mean some are like
Mhm.
making bank, but then you have these other like even younger kids that are just putting so much attention into like this thing, and it's like, well,
They don't actually learn life lessons.
yeah, they're not really doing anything from it.
That's
They're
the
like,
thing too. Like even if the ones that are like successful on these platforms, what are they like? Yeah, they made money, but it's
like
like
what
they're
are
just-
what do you have
they're
to
just
show
a
for it?
kid who like they missed a lot of life experience. They don't have like real friends in real
Yeah,
life.
TikTok
Like
fame.
maybe like I'm not like, but yeah,
but
they got all these
They're like
like
celebrities.
how that messes
Yeah.
with your head. Like when you're a kid, how you take that in, and then that could be harmful right there. If you have a kid who like blew up on like one of these things like TikTok and doesn't have a lot of real close friends and has all this money and like that's harmful right
Now
there.
all of a sudden everybody wants to be his friend.
Yeah, and it's like that's not good
Yeah.
either.
Because it's
Remember-
like changing like the industry, because before it's like, oh, you had to be some like pop star like Miley Cyrus or something, and like you're famous for that, and then all these people are like your fans. But now it's like TikTok or Instagram, and you're like, oh man, I've done some dances or some videos, and you're 12 years old and you have millions of people that are like trying to get your autograph, and it's like, oh, what the hell? Like, it's so
Mhm.
much easier to get into it, but it's also so much harder. I mean, I don't know if it's harder. I don't know. I guess over time it changes like what's popular. Like, I feel like what's popular now is just so like
It's gonna be not like
it's so
close to popular.
yeah,
10 years.
exactly. But I feel like it's so like almost like dumber than what it was before. You know what I mean? Like before you had to
Oh
like to be a pop star,
yeah.
you had to be like you had to have a manager, you had to do all this stuff. Nowadays it's like you
You have
like
to like put in work.
yeah, now it's like I feel like you like dance the right way, or you like live in the right
Yeah.
area with the right pictures or
Lift your belly button
something.
up. I mean, you lift your shirt past your belly button.
Yeah,
a
you lift your
little
belly
bit, and
button up
just-
a little bit.
Move around your body parts to different
That's
areas.
all we're-
It's funny. Most of the stuff that came out on social media were around that time where it all started, like MySpace, Facebook. Trying to think of other ones. Vine, which is gone now.
Alright,
Um,
Levi.
I mean,
AIM's a little bit way back, but like
there's good stuff on all of them. Like none of the tools themselves are like inherently bad, but it's so hard to know like how people are going to use something. You know what I mean? Like, TikTok was Musically, which was meant to be like music, but like no one when they like converted it over, they didn't realize like just people doing dances to like 10-second music clips would be what the
Yeah.
platform becomes. Like it's so hard to predict that. And then like now that's like it's so huge, and it's just like how could you have predicted that that would have been a thing? Like entertainment would have been like brought down to like 10-second little videos. It's just I guess it
Yeah,
goes
People
back
don't
to
have people don't have the attention span anymore to watch like a 30-minute video or whatever.
yeah.
I'd rather see
Yes.
like 10-second videos and be pleased right away than
Well,
watch,
the
like,
thing
a
is too with those, it's not even like yeah, it's like instant it's like you said, like it's the attention span thing, but it's like instant gratification of like each video, and it's like, oh, that was funny, and then you immediately forget about that and you move on to the next thing where it's like, oh, that was funny, and you just get stuck in that loop of searching for that instant thing, and then it's just like that's all it is. There's nothing that comes from it greater than that.
Yeah.
You just these like quick little instant things, and you just it's like an addiction of like you just get addicted to like these next little thing, and then you just like searching for this little thing. Like it's nothing greater than
Yeah.
that. It's
I mean,
just
I'll admit the one
the
thing, like I'm usually a big proponent where people like say like, oh, Facebook's trash, all these things. And it's like, regardless of what you use, it's hard to trash a software based on how the people use it. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
Yeah.
so I'm usually a proponent on the side of the software. It's like, where it's like, what do you want them to do? Like, yeah, they're already monitoring, doing stuff, whatever. But the one thing that I will like put blame on them, which I think affects that, is like the ad system. Because like you said, you're always searching for that instant funny, and then you see a good video and you're kind of like watching it, and all of a sudden you see a little ad scroll thing. And as soon as the ad
Just
pops
X
up,
out.
you just get out of it. And I do the same thing. I just like scroll
I
to the
stopped
next thing.
watching the video.
Yeah, you're not like 10 seconds of ads. I'm like, I don't care enough about that. I wasn't invested in that video enough. Like an hour YouTube video, yeah, maybe I'll sit through it because that's a lot of content. But like if you're watching a minute video, I'm not gonna. If you have
a
if you have
30-second ad.
yeah, I'm not gonna watch a 30-second ad for a minute video. I'm like, all right, I'll just screw it. So like
Yeah, it's not
the
worth
fact
it.
that those platforms are trying to make money and they throw those ads in there, it forces you to have smaller and smaller instant content to be popular. So it's like they're almost
That's true.
forcing it to be more like quick content because people don't really go and do the ad stuff. But I guess that's how you make the money too. So I don't know,
know,
it's just
that's-
like it's a weird thing. I guess
Just
it's
like-
like two questions. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, just like Manscaped, you gotta shave your balls.
What is
That's
that?
one of the ads.
Oh.
Manscaped.
Oh well, yeah, ads is a whole nother thing, but
See, like I like videos and things that I watch. I have like sponsors, and they do like that
yeah,
little like
well, it's like the
sponsor reads
person
and
is
stuff
the
like that.
sponsor, yeah.
like I like those better because it's just like an in video kind of ad that the person in the video talks about.
Yeah.
But I also like that too more because they get to like pick and choose in a way who their sponsor is. They don't just put a video out and then the YouTube or whatever throws a random ad on their video for something stupid.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, this is a nice company. Like I like what this company is doing. They want to sponsor me. Like I'll back them because it's a good company.
Yeah.
And then you kind of both like I like that kind of ad better than like just the random 30-second like irrelevant ads that they just get on Facebook.
Get on.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think like the whole like, is it good? I think it's like in two categories of like, is it good for like the younger generation, and then is it good for the older generation? Which like these days, I feel like it's super on the negative side for both because like scrolling through Facebook or Instagram or whatever, like the older crowd, the boomers, and all that kind of stuff, like they just go so hard in the comments where like the younger generation doesn't give a shit. Like they don't comment. They don't take the time to do that. But it's like you have two 60-year-olds just like battling in a comment section somewhere.
It's so stupid.
And
though.
it's so
just like,
stupid. And it's like, yes, they're both so hard on their points, but it's like, who has anyone changed someone's mind via internet comments? Like, no,
No.
like you feel like you're like empowering yourself, like saying these things, and then they just come back with like nonsense.
Gratification thing.
Yeah, and it's like these people battle. So for like the older generation, I feel like the platform is good for connectivity, but then it's bad because it just gives them a place to just like spew their shit back and forth. For then for kids, they don't do that, but then the kids are getting buried in that instant like gratification. So I feel like on both sides, it's weighing more negative lately. I mean, especially this year with just like everything going on, there's so much that people argue about. But yeah, usually I'm on the side of the platform, but I feel like
Yeah, 'cause
this
like
year
you
it's
said,
it's hard.
they can only do so much, and ultimately the people on the platform are what's dictating it.
Yeah, it sucks because I've
A
like
lot of the times, well, I was say like a lot of the times, like you said, well, like the TikTok and Musically thing, like they had an idea and then the platform kind of changed and they kind of just like like they kind of rolled with it. It wasn't their idea. It was
Yeah.
kind of just how it was taken. So it wasn't even them that like
Yeah.
made it. It was like the people who use it made it more than they
Yeah.
made it in that sense.
And it's hard too because I remember reading a thing about I think it was Facebook moderators specifically, like the people that literally like have to pull things down, like
Yeah.
on a day-to-day basis. Like these are some of the people that's like these people have like PTSD and like these severe issues from going to the job because on a day-to-day basis they're pulling down like murder videos, like
Really?
human traffic, like just like really bad like just like porn, all this crazy stuff, and like they're pulling it down because like from an automated perspective, like there's only so much you can do. You know what I mean? If you're like a normal user and you throw up this ridiculous picture or this ridiculous video, it's like how's the system can only do so much to automatically take it down. So they have like thousands of moderators that have to like see this ridiculous content and pull it down. And it's like people are blaming like, oh, how does Facebook let this go? Be like, okay, you saw this one political ad you didn't like, but you didn't see like 700 people getting murdered. So it's like,
Just that's why
it's,
I think for the live proportion of things like Facebook Live, I kind of don't like it, just because of that situation where anybody can post anything right then and there.
yeah, I mean they
Like,
all have
yeah,
lives now. I mean,
Yeah,
YouTube has its own live thing. Everybody has live, but yeah, it's I don't know. I guess if we switch a little bit into like defending the software, it's like
Yeah.
it's only, you know what I mean, there's only so much they can do, and then they have thousands of people that will sit there and just get hammered with this stuff. It's the no matter what you build, people are gonna like do bad stuff with it. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you build a car is so great, you get from point A to point B, and some guy's gonna like drive into fucking crowds of people. You know what I mean? It's like
Yep.
how do you can't make a car not do that. I mean, I guess you can in the future make sensors and whatever, but it's like I don't know. That's the same argument with like the softwares and the like Facebook and those things. Is like they're building
Like
this
a-
tool that has every good intention. It's not their fault that people use it to
Mhm.
like bad stuff.
you always see a software copying another software to prove itself, just like Instagram, how it was introduced stories, and then now Facebook has it. and now
Snapchat.
Snapchat. Well, I think it was more Snapchat.
Well,
was a
Snapchat
little
had
bit-
stories first, and then Facebook,
Yeah.
Instagram have it because it's the same company. But then, like, Vine, and then now TikTok, and then now Instagram Reels is basically their
Yeah.
copy of that. So that's, I mean, that's just like the market for it copying each other. I mean, you
I
see
kind of
this,
missed.
you see the same thing with like any industry. People complain about that one, but it's like, how many same features do you have on a Toyota versus like a Hyundai? You know what I mean? It's like it's the same argument. It's just less prevalent to you because you're not presented with
So,
both all
so what
the
do
time.
you think is going to be like the next thing topping TikTok? Like, there's always something new that just like outbeats it. Like, oh, you can do like 2-second video or something. No.
I
so
mean,
hard
It's
to
gonna be Blueberry phone smashing app.
that's
That's
be
more of
Brian's
a-
Blueberry thing.
We're talking about an app. Not,
I mean, I don't know.
It only runs on blueberries.
Most people misunderstand everything about phones and computers and security and all that stuff, so they just have no concept of anything. So people like, they like the blind like safety that like certain things offer, like like Snapchat's like you see it disappears unless you save it to your story or whatever. So like I think that concept is going to continue going forward, where like you might start seeing less and less like timeline things, you're just gonna see like things that are only alive for like an hour.
Big
So
a big thing they're taking out was comments, because a lot of comments like kind of upsets people a lot. Like yeah, like likes
Yeah.
and
That's like
stuff
a
like that.
it's like a whole new discussion of stuff.
My words.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
we could talk about that too. Well, what Chris is
Oh,
talking about is they're removing the like counter on
Oh, that was-
Instagram.
Oh yeah,
On Instagram. So they've already tested that a little bit where it's like your picture is just a picture and you might have comments on it, but it doesn't show you how many hearts you have, how many likes you have on your picture. And it's like a social experiment because again, like probably not the older crowd, but the younger crowd, you post a picture of like, you know,
like
this is my new jacket in the mirror, and if you get one like, you're like ready to kill yourself. But it's
Yeah.
like
Uh,
and it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
it's sad to say, but it's like this that happens. So they're trying to like socially like, you know, post your picture, but don't like go heavy on the likes. And
yeah.
I'm not opposed to that. Like, yeah, some people like the likes for business purposes, but for like the teen and the younger crowd, like they don't need to be tracking that. I agree that that's like that metric is dangerous for that crowd.
Yeah. Now it's oh no, go ahead.
I don't know. I guess why do people care about how many likes they have on their picture?
That's I mean it's like a popularity thing. It's like back in high school or any grade, you know what I mean? Like if you were like not the popular kids and you didn't really care, that's kind of like what you're talking to. But if you were like kind of up in that top crowd and you're like trying to fit in and be relevant and like basically it's kind of like that.
It's like we were like when we first started off. This is like Scott was saying, that like social media has kind of promoted this life of like do your own thing, become your own kind of entrepreneurish kind of thing, and like likes is like now being seen as like a measure of like success.
Yeah.
Popularity.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah,
success,
like-
popularity. Yeah.
That's like kind of when it's not necessarily like true. I think that's why like
Now things they're using more are Patreon.
Hmm.
What's the other program or
OnlyFans.
OnlyFans?
But yeah, I mean those are
No,
like
there's
that's like
another one.
those are pure money based things. But I think what we're talking about is not necessarily like the money part of it. It's more like the brand, like the recognition of the person. Because like the girl that gets one like on her selfie, who's sad about it, it doesn't necessarily care like she's getting money from the picture. She's like, oh, like I posted this picture. I'm in like 7th grade and I want to like have all my friends like the picture. You know what I mean? So like social media
That the
is
world loves.
yeah, social media is kind of like affecting that
Mm.
particular example, that girl's attitude. So it's like, how does social media help that girl? Or is it not social media? Is it like a societal thing where it's like, okay, you can use social media to talk to people and post and do that stuff. But it's like, we have to teach these kids to like draw their emotions like away from it. They're too young for the businesses. Like Tim's saying, like these TikTok young stars, like they're now like young Kardashians. They're just gonna live and just be these nonsense like celebrities probably.
nothing.
Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
sad. They're gonna have money, but they're gonna be like nothings almost. I don't know.
Like the times when like you don't have to carry on a phone like this or something like that. Like that was like the best days of our life. But now everyone's with the phone and they have their Instagram and the Facebook and stuff like that.
It's just like these like they're searching for like validity or like acceptance through social media and like likes and follows, comments, and it's like more than actual physical connections and real relationships. Like they feel it's a weird thing. Like,
Yeah, I mean, people do that with video games too. You know what I mean? They like dive into like a World of Warcraft type thing, and like that's like their life. You know what I mean? Like they become like a I don't know what the word for some of the people are, but like
But it could turn out worse too.
Grinder.
No, that's no, like World of
I
Warcraft.
don't think he meant grinder. I think he meant like
Like there's some
I was talking about the word that Scott was thinking of.
yeah, not.
no, but you see like one of them, like World of Warcraft, one guy like traded his item that was his, and then he actually went to his house and like murdered him for it.
yeah. But I mean,
Well, this is extreme.
and there's always there's always extremes for everything. And it's like how do you prevent that? It's like a game. You know what I mean? Like you could like be walking down the street and you like cough on some guy's like fence, and the guy's like, "What the hell?" and like he'll try to kill you. You know what I mean? Like you can't. That's a weird example, but like you can't measure it on like the extremes.
Yeah, the exception, not the rule. You don't make things based on the exceptions.
Yeah. So it's like these games and this social media like give these people like this other outing. So if they're not popular at school, they can talk to these people online or on social
Which is,
media.
like,
Or,
to an extent, there is like a healthy part of
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
But yeah, you just can't overdo it or just solely rely on that.
Yeah, well, like you said, if it goes for like sensing of like your own validity, then it's bad. But if you use it just for like connecting and being in touch with people,
Yeah,
then it's
just
one thing.
reach out a little further than you normally would.
But if you use your reach to determine like how you are as a person, then it's like kind of
Yeah.
unfair because you don't have like you don't have control over some of those elements.
Mhm.
So that's where like some of the social media stuff becomes bad. And I think most people probably would agree with like those
Yeah.
assessments. Everyone has their thoughts on like, oh, I don't use Facebook, I don't use that, and which is fine because most of the time it's like, all right, well, Twitter just doesn't fit in your lifestyle, which is fine. But they're not
Mhm.
bashing it; they're just it doesn't fit in their lifestyle. But I think most people agree that it's you have like that upper generation, lower generation where it's like, I don't know.
Yep.
It's really hard to not coexist to what social media apps and stuff like that, because everything relies on those things these days. Just like you're saying, it's like selling points to improving as well, because you can't just word of mouth and just like, hey, you know that about this company that I'm doing. Hey, you can tell this guy.
Was there
You know
more
what
to
I'm
that sentence?
I don't know.
No,
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's like it's not just like a game where you just pop a game on. Like social media is becoming like the new TV,
Yeah.
the new radio. It's like it's now then like your source of things like news and stuff like that too. Like I personally use like Facebook as like my news source most of the time because I don't look at news sites and stuff. So like yeah, it's becoming less like just this little social media thing and becoming more like mainstream where you have to be involved if you're gonna like start a business or you're gonna do something. So it is kind of evolving where that sense like will Facebook eventually just be like this giant like media
Yes.
thing and not necessarily like a social media platform, and there'll be a lot of like smaller stuff, but Facebook will just like how we call like radio now would just be like, oh yeah, did you see that on Facebook? The same way you would ask someone now, did you hear it on the radio? You know what I mean? Because radio is so broad, but like Facebook's just one thing. But like eventually it could be like, Facebook is just the thing that's the TV now. I don't know. I feel like it's going in that direction.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
How like have you guys ever even watched TV at all? Like
Ever
actually
in my
watched?
life? No, never.
TV in my life, man.
No, like
What's a TV?
since like watch a show on a channel.
Like
Full,
not
like-
Netflix, like on.
Yeah, like
I
just
haven't-
literally
I haven't watched
Channel
cable
5.
unless I've been at someone else's house.
I don't
And,
even
and they have
remember
it
last
on. I don't.
Here and there, but I never.
Hey Brian, Brian watches sports and stuff, which is a little different.
yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know. Like once you have streaming, you go back to that instant gratification. Like I want to watch something, boom, I can watch something. Yeah, I mean you might be searching for a while, but if you want it, you just click play. Like you don't have to find a channel, see what's on that
Wait till a
channel.
certain time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
wait till a time. Wait
Watch
till
commercial.
commercial. It's like that system is dead. I feel like
Yeah.
it's been dead for years. It's just dangling because of like these big like cable companies, but like that platform, that media is just dead. Like there's no way that makes it that much longer with streaming literally
know.
just being like Netflix play.
If you think about it now, too, like even it's kind of like archaic in a way. Like
It's
I have to
stupid.
like tune into a channel at a specific time to see what I want to watch. It's like, and if you just
Yeah.
turn on the TV, like you don't have control of what's on. You're just watching whatever is being played to you.
Yeah.
Like
Mm.
if you like try to explain that to a kid like that, they're like, it's
Like,
such a
what?
such a strange idea. It's like I can't just watch what I want to watch. Like,
Yeah.
like
Why
it's
can't I watch my Mickey Mouse right now?
Yeah.
yeah.
That's true.
So
Yeah, you right now sports is like you can watch it anywhere on like an app.
yeah. I mean, sports is a little different because, or
Sports
I would say anything live because obviously
live.
if it's live, like you can't watch it before. Anytime after, maybe you can do it automatically, but obviously you have to wait for the freaking thing to occur. It's not like we've released
okay,
all the
okay.
games for the whole year. Like obviously you can't. You have to wait for them. You have to wait for them all to be played. So it's like
Even games like once it hits 12 o'clock, you can actually just play it right there. Have it pre-downloaded.
Oh yeah.
yeah. I feel like the whole like media thing is shifting, and that's probably why. Like, I don't know if it's why social media is growing because social media is not really part of that. Like Netflix is kind of fighting the streaming and the cable companies, but like you see so much like Facebook video and you see all these things like video is growing on like YouTube and stuff like that because they're not really behind like the cable companies. So like big corporations are kind of like, I mean, I guess that's, you could argue for anything, but like corporations are literally like holding back what these next steps could be for like just media in general, social media, all these things. Like this is
I
old
feel
archaic.
like Facebook expanded a lot just because they have like games, they got stories, they got videos, they got news, they got live, they got I was trying to think about it, like trying to think of the other one. Oh yeah, they're doing movies themselves.
Yeah,
They got like
have,
TV shows on
yeah,
their
and they have
corporation.
like the whole marketplace. Like, yeah, I mean, they're as a company, they're huge.
Yeah.
But it's like, I guess that's a good question. So it's like, do you think like, do you give these big companies like these, I mean, I guess Comcast is like an internet provider, but like, I don't know, just these other big companies that you would consider like not relevant in today's like technology era. Like, do you think it's like just straight up get rid of them? Do you think like, you know, let them play it out and see if they move up their technology? But like, I feel like a lot of these like bigger companies are what's actually holding the rest of it back. So do you think it's like better if we had the option just be like, oh, these 5 old ass companies, like just straight up get rid of them? You know what I mean? Like just dump
Getting
it.
rid of
I could see one company
Just like
buying
hypothetically, not like if it really happened, but like, do you think it's better that it's just like,
any sense, but
yeah, not like in a realistic time a sense, but like, let's say Comcast wasn't like, you know, internet provider, but like Comcast television. Do you think it's like, oh, just straight up get rid of it and like let streaming kind of move into where it should be, or is it like?
No, not necessarily. I mean,
Comcast developed into a streaming. I mean,
yeah,
Well,
I mean, it gives them ability to adapt, but also if they're still doing it and they have the ability to do it, that means somebody's watching it.
True.
Or it's coming from somewhere, so it's still enough viable for them to stay whatever they're doing. So it's
I know there's
Comcast-
like all the like the USA, like all the stations, channels have these contracts with the cable companies.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I mean, as long as those contracts are there, you know, the whole switching the channel by like going up and down the guide, I mean, that'll always be there until those people don't want to renew their contracts and they want to go solely streaming, you know,
Yeah.
like USA,
Yeah.
all those kind of big channels.
Yeah, it's happening. You see already the channels are doing their own thing.
Yeah, they're all moving into like everything is going to be its own independent like streaming service,
Which is also like
which
not
becomes
good.
bad too. Yeah, like
Cable sucks, but also that sucks.
yeah, like cable
Because,
sucks, but it does
like,
have a
Netflix by
lot.
itself is good. Yeah, it has a lot of
Like even though it's structured poorly with like the times and the schedules.
Yeah.
Like if you just backed up and looked at like every like just piece of content, like the channels that are on there, like it's a lot of really good stuff. Like
Mhm.
Netflix has a lot of really good stuff too, but like cable has a lot of good stuff. It's just stuck behind an old like system where it's like you have to do scheduled timing and stuff. So it's like if cable were to just take everything that they have access to and, you know, pure rights to and just throw that into like a Netflix type system, they would probably be just as like compatible.
Successful.
Yeah. So I think
You're-
that's kind of where
you're-
the issue is.
Like the one thing that surprised me is like pay-per-views, like everything, like you have to get through Comcast to watch it, but like other companies are doing their own thing. Like UFC is doing, they're not relying on Comcast. They have their own app that you can order their events on instead of going on Comcast itself for their
Sort of.
pay-per-views.
Yeah. I mean, they have their weird like ESPN
ESPN
things
Plus.
and stuff, which I mean, I guess that's a
Channel,
different,
like
that's a general thing, but
that's the crazy thing. Like all the stuff that we see now, like how I was saying, like Facebook's getting their own thing. Like Comcast's already evolved into like a mobile service. Now they're trying to compete with like T-Mobile, AT&T, stuff like that, and they're trying to involve themselves into the streaming service as well. Not on demand slowly, but like having their own thing. And then I think AT&T is buying like networks and stuff like that. They have WB or something like that. Like it's crazy how everything is evolving. Like what's going to be the next thing that's going to come out of nowhere, or something that's going to incorporate into that social media environment? Like what's going to Instagram? Are they going to separate and do their own thing and make their own social network?
Well, I think it goes back to like so if we got to a point where it's like, all right, cable just like imploded somehow, and then every like network or every piece of content created their own thing. You know what I mean? Like the CW has their own app, the Fox has its own thing. It's like it's bad in a way because then they're all like subscriptions. So if you want a bunch of stuff, you're paying all the subscription. But at the same time, it's so specific that you
Mhm.
can be limiting. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
like I don't know if because when you have a
Depends,
company that
right?
that wraps around everything and just puts a price around it, they have so much control over everything, and then
Yeah, that's
they become so much higher. So even though
that's what
like costly it might be better, you end up with one company that's just this mega company versus if everybody has their streaming services, maybe it's a little more expensive, but then it's more of an even playing field. You don't have like these giant
Smart what you
Comcasts.
want to watch rather than getting 150 plus channels when you only watch 5 of them.
and you get trapped into like right now it's I know certain areas like my certain area only gets a certain provider of internet.
Yeah, that's a whole nother freaking thing. Yeah.
Like your for certain parts of the country only get certain things, and it's like they kind of like it's like a weird agreement that they have where they create these like sub monopolies, and you're screwed, and you have to go with it, and they can just raise the prices to whatever they
Yeah,
want.
that all jumps into politics because though they have agreements with the freaking cities and the
Like,
governors of the cities, which like how what
Should have never happened.
you like you're selling the I don't know. I guess we complain there, but then it's like when the power and the gas and stuff change, we're like, oh whatever, just give me my power. You know what I mean? But it's like when the cable like conglomerate where it's like the city says, oh everybody in my city can only have Comcast. It's weird, but it's like, is it weird? I don't know. I feel like I always complain because I'm like, oh, I have no other options. But then it's like, for power, it's like you have kind of like, one option.
Yeah, but power is power. Like it doesn't.
You're not,
That's I
like,
know.
buying
It's
electricity.
it is. I agree, but it's like, is it weird that like they force like one vendor? You know what I mean? Where it's like Comcast is like the provider of the city. Like, I agree that politics kind of is involved in way too many things as part of that. But like, I don't
You
know.
get like a cheaper electricity bill if you use this company versus that company, blah blah blah.
Like
Yeah.
like right now, AT&T has their own cable something network with DirecTV because they own it now, and they're selling these TV packages to people that have the AT&T service. They're like, oh, you got this Comcast, we got something better. We got all these channels and stuff that you can watch
Yeah.
through the DirecTV service, which is not even DirecTV anymore. It's like AT&T, like network or something, or
Something. Yeah.
some sort of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's like an infrastructure thing too, where it's like if Comcast has this whole area, like can Verizon send a signal to one house? Like I don't know, probably, but it does seem weird that like you have these like monopolies where it's like you have no options and the company just is growing because people are forced to buy into it.
Screw cable.
Yep.
It's always something is over something like how Disney bought Fox, and a lot of people didn't want that to happen just because of all the money that's incorporated in like Fox and like what the revenue they're gonna be like the richest
Yeah.
people. Like
I know it's so hard when you see those mergers because it's like I
Yeah.
agree that like when you have these two massive companies that combine, it's like well the child of that is now so stupidly big that like they're untouchable, but then like in that particular merger, like you're talking about, like the outcome of it actually is like really good for all the people because like they have the physical legal titles and stuff they can do to make good content now. So it's like okay, once they start doing stuff, no one's gonna complain anymore because it's like we get something back out of it. But
They're
yeah,
doing
like
something.
yeah, they're doing something like kind of good with it. They're not really trying to like. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's obviously money concerns there.
One of the mergers that I heard wasn't that great was T-Mobile and Sprint, because a lot of people from the different phone services are like, oh, we got, was it T-Mobile that bought Sprint, right?
Yeah,
I think it was it.
yeah. I
Was
think
it the other one?
I think T-Mobile bought Sprint.
So now people that have Sprint service has the T-Mobile service.
Tell you what I have right now. Sprint.
But technically it's still T-Mobile.
Yeah, I don't
That's
know.
it's so weird. Why would they keep something that's eventually they're gonna be like, screw it, we're not gonna take the Sprint name, we're gonna just be called T-Sprint.
Mobile Sprint.
Yeah, I mean, going back to like the cable thing, like I think like the biggest improvement they could make is if they just split like the service and the content. So it's like you get your physical service, like your internet service, your speed, your connectivity to the internet from Comcast, but then your content is now something else. You know what I mean? Like my internet is Comcast, but like my content is Netflix, which has nothing to do with Comcast. So it's like Comcast is trying to like, or I mean, I guess that's how it was because with the
Yeah.
cable, but like they should either go one direction and like try to give up the networking thing and have like another company take over the speed of it and the infrastructure, and then they come in and try to join the content.
Build their own streaming sort of
Because
thing.
them trying to do both, I feel like is really driving people away from it. I don't know. That might be one idea. I don't know if it's like a practical thing for something like that, but it seems like
Yeah, I
people would
kinda get
like
what you're
that.
saying.
Because like
I
you
mean,
pay
they
for
could-
electricity from a company, and then what you do with your electricity is like whatever. But like Comcast is like, okay, if you want their pay for their internet, you got to have their freaking like. I guess you don't have to
Exactly.
have their cable, but I don't know.
Well, that's what I do. I pay for their internet, and I don't pay for the cable. But
But then you
now
get
that I want to watch a certain station, I have to have a cable package.
yeah, but then you get screwed because
Like-
they're like, oh well, we offer this, so we're gonna charge you triple the amount for just internet.
Well, you can get the YouTube package because apparently now they're doing their own channel thing too.
Yeah, but then you gotta still buy internet because YouTube doesn't have internet. So
Yeah.
then you get screwed from Comcast because they're like, oh well, if you want everything we have, we'll give it to you for $1. But if you only want one thing we have, it's $100.
But the one thing that no one uses these days is just getting a regular a phone service off Comcast because it's rarely anybody uses a home phone.
Yeah,
Like,
landline.
cell phones, like like-
I was looking at deals this morning, and if you get a home phone, it actually makes your bill cheaper for some reason.
because they cornered you for all their services. Yeah, landline is
yeah.
definitely less prevalent now because it's like cell phone is the same shit. Like if you lose power, you still have a cell phone. You can't charge it, but I mean, you still have a cell phone for some use. Like there's nothing buried in the ground connecting to your house for a cell phone. So yeah, it's just those are kind of like
imagine ripping all those phone cords out of the ground and be like, we don't even use this anymore.
I mean, most of them probably still up on freaking telephone wires, but yeah, I don't know. I
A
feel
lot
like
of things like cell phones are using satellites.
Yep.
Like satellite service instead of like the towers.
it's all over. Some crazy combination of all of that, I'm
Just-
sure.
Everything everywhere.
It's evolving. Like that's the thing. Like the whole thing. Like what's the next thing? What's the next social media app? What's the next cable company that's gonna come out of nowhere and just like, hey, we gotta try this out, and we're just gonna try to beat this business out of the block. Push you guys over. We're the big thing now.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard with like the next big thing. I feel like we're limiting now because I don't know what we were talking about before, but it's like it's kind of almost like established. Like at the beginning of every like bubble, things happen and like the big companies kind of come out of that as like the victors.
Buy the smaller companies just to have their things.
So like Facebook was doing good, it kind of got fizzled out, and then like Facebook, Instagram, these other ones kind of bubbled up, and then they kind of won the war. Because I mean, there was tons of apps, millions of apps out there. And it's like they just kind of won, and now they're so big. It's like, yeah, TikTok's like big now, but like I can see TikTok dying, but I don't see Facebook going anywhere. You know what I mean? Like Facebook is
It's huge. Vine was
yeah,
ridiculous.
and,
and
but
it died.
but it's big for what it is. You know what I mean? If you see like Facebook's footprint versus like Vine, it's a very different like footprint. So like the next big thing, it may not be a big thing. It might just be like a weird blip while everything else just continues to grow in the background.
Remember Google Plus?
Well, that's what I mean. Google Plus lost the war against Facebook and all the others, and now that's Facebook is getting bigger. But Google,
I thought it was a fun like template, like how they had everything set up. Like not too many people saw it like how like we saw it. Like
Don't
how
even know what it is.
structure. Google Plus, it's like a social media app like
Yeah,
Facebook.
it was Google's version of social media app. But
Just like how Microsoft did Mixer for their streaming services, and now where's that? It's gone.
Trash.
yeah, I was like Google tried it out, but then Google redirected, and they're doing just as good. So
And like Internet Explorer, how is that going to be gone soon? Like that was the main thing that everyone used, and now everyone uses Google.
Chrome or Safari, Firefox.
yeah, I mean, there's
Well-
a ton of them. It's just internet it had so
Ton
many
better.
issues when there was no competitors. People were stuck with this thing that they had so many problems with. Other people came out that had not as many problems, and people were like, "All right, fuck that other thing." And then it's like, why go back? So they tried so hard, and their latest version was probably super good, but people already had this notion like, "Oh yeah, screw Internet Explorer," and they're like, "All right, well, we're done fighting the war, so now they're gonna give up." Probably smart.
Save money.
It's gonna be weird just getting a new computer and it's like Google Chrome's there. I'm like, what? Where's Internet Explorer? That's usually there. That's That's
It's
what
not
I'm used
weird.
to.
That's more efficient.
I say
All
I
that-
like that. I immediately make Google Chrome my default
Yeah.
browser. Get rid of Internet Explorer.
and people
It's
complain
just-
about Chrome and stuff, but it's like I don't know, like it.
Like
I like Chrome.
Microsoft Word. Like what's going to be the next Microsoft Word? What's going to be that competitor that's going to be like, oh, we got the Excel, we
No,
got
I don't, yeah, I think you either have the Microsoft suite or you just use like the cloud ones like Google Apps and Google Docs and stuff. Like I just don't see the next, like they're both perfectly fine at what it is. There's no point. Like if some random word processor came out, people are like, why are you, what are you doing? Like there's already something. You know what I mean? It's like at some point there's only so far you can go with something like that. So it's like trying to compete with it. It's like that's such a lofty task for like a weird reward.
Like it, yeah.
I mean, I guess in some sense too. Like, I mean, Photoshop used to be like a very specific thing where only certain people had it. Now it's like Photoshop is like a term your grandmother knows. You know what I mean? It was like, oh, you Photoshop it or something. Like that's just like a term that people just know, and people have Photoshop and use Photoshop all the time. Like it's just for people
you
to create
probably
like
won't-
another Photoshop is like. I mean, there's other alternatives, but it's like you just can't be better than Photoshop. Like that's just like the pinnacle of what that thing is. I don't know.
It sucks when like you tell the kids nowadays, you're like, oh, that's been Photoshop. I'm like, what's that?
I feel like kids probably Photoshop it and will fool us. Our like our generation, our kids and stuff will just be so much more savvy than we are probably.
Oh man, it's going for me. It's like
Like your health, like your health, right?
You're just dumb.
Your health and your life is just
even
plummeting.
even fitness stuff. Like you can get everything on the internet. Like you don't even need to go to the gym. You can just pretty much watch your workout routine.
Yeah, I tried ordering a 6-pack on Amazon, but didn't work.
Got
Well, you
yours.
can't. Yeah, it's like a piece.
I brought all those like 6-pack and 60-second things.
So, it's been like
So
3
some
months.
super mold in your stomach.
Just
I
wearing
ordered
this
some
thing.
quads.
Got
They
five
never came
packs.
in.
Came back with a 5-pack. Oh, there's one missing.
Got
Probably-
jacked in
You
3
could probably
weeks.
order on like the black market. You like literally receive
Exactly.
somebody's abs like in a bag.
Some dead dude's abs. Donated his abs.
I don't know about donated on the black market.
You said you had to get it off the black market.
Well, I doubt
So-
Amazon's selling live human organs.
Well, they're abs.
Like you get like you get someone's like,
Well, yeah, they're not
Legs.
organs; they're muscles. But
and then you get someone's abs, and then you get someone's arm strength.
like arms, you mean?
Screens.
He's like
Biceps.
trying to rebuild the
Biceps.
body from the ground up, and he's really confused when he gets the arms. He's like, "There's like those
What's that?
things. What are those? They're on
What's
the
after the
side.
feet?
This
Arm
feet,
strength?
legs, body. Is it no? It's a head.
What's
Torso,
this?
torso, neck.
Is it forearm,
I
two
guarantee
arms?
you
I
that-
don't remember.
I guarantee. Probably.
What?
Never mind. It's a dumb question.
What dumb question? I thought you were gonna say something, not a question.
I was gonna
Well-
say. I was gonna say like you can't even name all your body parts.
Like-
Okay. What's that?
Like, oh, you can just point and be like, oh, that's a bicep, or like that's a tricep.
Is that like? Are you trying to challenge us? Or like,
No, no, I can see you guys will beat me. That's a
Phalanges, bro.
that's a flange blotch. Something like
Flange?
that. Call it the flapper.
All right. On the next episode, we challenge Christian to name body parts.
This is my mouth.
For everyone he doesn't name correctly, we take a shot.
I didn't say that.
We won't survive.
Yeah, we'll all be dead.
None of us survive. If
Uh,
I get to rice, I have to take a shot.
No, if you guess it.
See you guys.
oh god.
Anyways, that was a good one.
Yeah, I guess we'll end it there. That was
See
kind
you
of
guys.
a
Bye.
random collection of topics.
Oop, oop. Tim,
It's gonna be
Alright.
bad. It never was as good as the first one. I have to hold my hand
All the way
awkwardly.
down, Scott. Come
Me
on.
too.
I'm all the way down.
Like force field.
I'm down.
Keep going.
ready? Go.
Look, I'm so fat. I'm like the Flash.
All right. Well, that was it.
All
Good
right.
night. See you in the morning.
Hope you like that one. We'll see you next time.